my name is Erik. I am with Sourfish Events. We are a small event planning company based in Chicago, Illinois. I kind of want you guys to be able to leave this conference today and be super excited with new ideas and how you can utilize your existing Facebook page, and maybe even if you're using Facebook paid marketing, be able to leave here and say, okay, I want to try this or I want to test this out. We're going to hop right into social media. We're going to spend a little bit of time talking about free social media, but I'm also going to dive right into paid marketing, especially using the Facebook platform. Obviously, everyone's familiar these days with social media, all the different platforms, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest. The one that we've had the most success with so far has been Facebook, and we're starting to really get into Instagram as well. But for this conversation with you guys, I'm going to stick to Facebook as I think it's the best medium, at least today. So there's two trains of thought, I guess I should say, when talking about social media, especially on Facebook. There's paid versus free. A lot of people will say there's no such thing as free social media marketing anymore. And I kind of want to debunk that myth a little bit. Sure, your free reach isn't going to go as far as it did, say, 4 years ago, meaning that when you post something, say you have 10,000 likes on Facebook, 4 years ago, it might be shown to 30% of your audience, up to 50, who knows. Nowadays, it's more single digits. Reason being is as more people join Facebook, Facebook doesn't want to clog people's news feed with irrelevant content. So Facebook is taking your best performing post. If you put a post out there and you have a ton of engagement, people liking, people sharing, that's going to get seen by more people. Even if you think that you're putting a post out there that's super relevant, if it doesn't look good, people aren't going to click through it and it's not going to get shown. So I think there's definitely ways that people can still up their game with social media and still get a lot of engagement for free. So first of all, if you don't have a Facebook page for your race, please set one up. It's free. Take care of that today. Again, like I said, make sure you're posting relevant and engaging thoughts, pictures, videos, all that good stuff. One of our best freebies that we do a weekly contest on the Great Pumpkin Runs page, where basically we take our training shirt and we take a picture of it, like zoomed in super up close, and we say, hey guys, where was this picture taken? So, for example, we might take a picture of that shirt on the beach, and you can see just a few grains of sand. People will sit there and they'll guess and they'll share and they'll be like, oh my God, I don't know where this is, or oh, I think I know where it is. And all of a sudden, that post is going to skyrocket because you have so many people commenting. And plus, you're giving away a freebie, so people are getting excited. And that freebie is also something that we promote in the PSL program, so they're seeing the prize that they could get. So it's kind of one of those things where you're trying to have that full life cycle on social media. Another thing that you want to make sure that you're doing on social media is setting up an event on Facebook. So this is something that Facebook has been really pushing for the past year. They want people to go on that platform and find new events to do with their friends. Which is great for all of us because that means they're likely going to show your event over maybe somebody else's post. It's the easiest thing for people to sit there and say they're interested or going to your event on Facebook, and then they can easily share it with their friends. It's one of those things that once you hit I'm going, it's going to pop up on your friend's newsfeed that says, oh, hey, Bob is going to the Great Pumpkin Run. And you can say, oh, I want to learn more, and you can hit interested. And so that's a way that you can build an audience right then and there. So if you haven't done that yet, highly recommend it. Another one of Facebook's free features that's getting a lot of buzz these days is Facebook Live. So that's the idea of taking out your smartphone, or I think it has to be a smartphone, and literally film what you're doing. At our races throughout the spring and the fall, we'll Facebook Live the start of our race. Literally we'll have someone whip out their cell phone and just stand there and film it. We'll walk around, talk with people at the races, things like that. If you guys do a t-shirt reveal or a medal reveal, it's a great idea to say, okay guys, on Friday at noon we're going to Facebook Live the t-shirt reveal for this year. And you can sit there and in your office or whatever, make a little set, and then on live, reveal that t-shirt. So these are like simple little ideas that you guys can just institute here and there, and it's gonna go a long way. We're gonna hop into beginning a paid campaign. How many of you guys use paid marketing on Facebook right now? So a lot of people, good. We've had a lot of success with it. It's been something that when we started with back in 2012, it's how we've grown all of our races. We've experimented with other forms of marketing, but we've found that Facebook is so robust and that you can really drill down and find your target audience. So I'm gonna kind of go into what we've done as far as creating like how we market our events. Before every season, we sit down and we say, what is our funnel this year? And by funnel, I mean your top marketing, your middle marketing, and then your conversions at the bottom. You need to sit there and think about your audience a bit, think about who you want to reach and how you're going to reach them on Facebook. One thing that, so who is familiar with custom audiences for Facebook? Everybody? Cool. So if you're not familiar with custom audiences, this is something where you can go into Facebook, into your ads manager, and you can quickly upload custom contacts. So one thing that we always do as a rule at Sourfish Events is when we're marketing to runners, we say, okay, we're gonna market to our past participants a little differently than we're gonna market to quote unquote cold customers who have never heard of our event. We're also going to segment our audiences a little bit by gender. So we're going to market to women a little differently than we'll market to men, and also different age groups. If that's not something you're doing right now, that's something I definitely recommend you guys start doing. And we also, when we're in Facebook, we are also separating where we show certain ads. So we won't necessarily run an ad on Facebook and have it run on Instagram at the same time. We might treat Instagram a little differently. People that go on Instagram, they want to see these beautiful pictures. They want to see what their friends are eating that day, things like that. So with that in mind, what works on Facebook, it might not necessarily work the same as it does on Instagram. So when you're setting up those campaigns, think of it that way. Think of different ways that you can, differentiate your campaigns. So I have a video of basically how we set up a basic campaign. It seems like all of you guys have done this before. Is this screen familiar to you? No? All right, so we're gonna walk through it. So this is gonna be when you first start your ads and you open up your ads manager and you hit create an ad. This is your basic campaign selection setup. So here, Facebook outlines all the different types of campaigns you can do. Brand awareness is gonna be one of those high-reaching campaigns where you're gonna be trying to reach the most amount of people. Reach, again, we use reach to basically say, okay, we have a price increase this upcoming weekend. We want to reach all of our past participants. We want to make sure every single person sees that. Reach is where you want to do that. Traffic is your basic cost per click campaign where you're saying, I just want to target people and drive traffic to my website at the lowest cost possible. You have engagement, which basically says, I want people to engage with my ad. App installs, we don't really mess around with that. We don't have our own app. Video views is a great tool if you have an awesome video and you want to kind of show people that video. That's going to perform better than a traffic campaign. And then conversions is the one we use the most. So you can tell Facebook that you want to optimize your ads to be shown to people that might buy your product. So there's going to be people out there that they go on Facebook and they'll go to your website and they'll click through your website and say, oh, this is a cool race, but they might not ever want to really convert. If you do a conversion campaign, Facebook is going to say, we're going to find those people that have been shown in the past to make that purchase. They're going to do that action that you want them to do online, which for all of us is to buy a registration. Again, I'm just going to keep going through our basics top funnel setup. This is going to be a running interest plus Starbucks, which basically means that we want to target people that have a running interest, and they also have to like Starbucks. It might sound weird, but going through our insights on Facebook, we found that our audience has a high affinity for Starbucks. Maybe because of the fall, I don't know, but it's worked out well for us. This conversion tab right here, you can upload standard events using the Facebook pixel, so you can optimize for different conversion factors. We have ones for each of our events, but we also have the main standard purchase event, which that's what we're going to use for this campaign. You can also have initiate checkout. You can have web page views. So if you just want to drive people to your website doing that, you can do that as well. Going further down, we talked about custom audiences. This is where you can upload your lookalike audiences. So if you've created a lookalike audience based on past participants, upload and target that lookalike audience here. You can also target people that are already registered if you want. Like I said, one thing we always do is we exclude people that are already registered if we're trying to do like a top funnel ad campaign. So this way, if I'm targeting 50,000 people and we have 1,000 people registered already, we're going to make sure we don't show it to those 1,000 people. A, you're wasting money, and B, you might be annoying them. So for this race, it's in Lansing, Michigan. So we're going to geo-target it, and we're going to do a 40-mile radius or 45-mile radius. And we're going to make sure that we click locations and people who live in this location. One thing that's tricky, if you haven't ever seen this box before, pay attention to it. Facebook will track everyone who's been through that location. So you might have people that are transient or people that went up to Lansing for a summer vacation, but they don't actually live there. So for our purposes, you want to make sure you're targeting people that actually do indeed live in that area. We target by age and gender as well. So for this ad, it's going to be 20 to 50. That's pretty much the core of the people that run our races. So we're going to pay attention to them. And for the ad creative, we're going to do this one designed to appeal to women specifically. Here is where we're going to start doing a little bit of interest-based targeting. So like I said, we're going to do that running interest. And now that I did that, you see it drop down to 53,000 people in that potential pool. We're going to narrow it down even more because they're going to have to show Facebook that they're interested in running and also interested in Starbucks. So now that dropped our pool down to a measly 14,000 potential people. I usually don't run campaigns like this low, like 14,000 is pretty narrow. I did this video a few days ago, and we've seen some success with it, which was surprising, but typically I try to target between 50 to 100,000 people for a typical city. That gives Facebook enough wiggle room to find the best people. Down here, again, this is where you can kind of choose your platform that you show. So even within Facebook, you can choose whether or not you want to be on news feeds, instant articles, right column. You can also choose whether you want it to be on Instagram, audience networks. All these things are totally customizable, which is great. As you do mess around with these and you exclude some, it can drop your reach down a little bit. So always pay attention to that. Messenger is one of the newer ones for Facebook where you can now put ads within their Messenger platform. We haven't really experimented with that yet. I'm excited to see how other brands do it, but it is an option now. You can adjust your budget. You can optimize, again, for conversions, link clicks, impressions, daily unique reach. That's when you want to make sure you're reaching people up to once a day, but no more than once a day. So if you're trying to not annoy people, but you still want to get your message across, daily unique reach can be used, and your ad spend should be a little bit less. So moving on, we're going to go to the creative. I'm sure if you guys have seen this before, this is where you're going to actually design your ad itself. So we have the Great Pumpkin Run. You choose your page you're advertising for. You can do a carousel ad where you have multiple images within one ad, single image ad, a single video. If you don't have a video but you want something moving, slideshow is a great option. You just compile a bunch of pictures and Facebook will have them slide across in a nice, like, PowerPoint-esque manner. Going down further, you can do the canvas or you can go straight into images. If you don't have any images, if you're a brand new race and you're like, I want to do these ads but I don't have any images at all, Facebook has stock images, so you can find some of people running or people, eating or drinking or whatever you have. A nice thing is Facebook will save all your up to 100 ad images, so you don't have to upload every single time you're creating a new ad. You can see ads that you've used before, ad creatives you used before, and bring it up from there. One of the biggest things that you should pay attention to when creating your ad is the headline. This is when people are mindlessly going through their Facebook feed and they're just scrolling. This is what's going to catch people's attention. That picture and that headline is what it will make people stop and say, oh, what is this? So for this, we use, are you ready for apple cider yet? It's just one of those things that as you're scrolling through, maybe you'll say, oh yeah, I am ready for apple cider, even though it's only July. This is one of those variables you have to constantly test and say, is it the picture, is it the text, what is working here and what's not working? Then above it, you can put your text. We put dash through the farm before celebrating at the finish line with friends, food, pumpkins, and fun. Kind of gives them a little more idea of what this is about. So dash through the farm. Okay, so I'm going to be running this great pumpkin run. It's going to be at a farm. There's going to be food afterwards and a bunch of pumpkins. Cool. And then one of the more important things is the CTA. So this call to action button Facebook has, there's all sorts of different ones you can use. We've found that for races and for our purposes, the learn more and the sign up CTA button, they perform really well. You can, again, create ads and test those and see what CTA is going to work best for you. But for this particular ad, we're going to use sign up. News feed link description. This is just a little bit of text at the bottom of the ad. We'll usually put like the location and dates. Be aware that the news feed link description, it's not on every ad. I think it's only on mobile news feed and desktop news feed. So that's the basics for creating a top level campaign. You can scroll through after you create it just to check how it's going to preview on all those formats that you set up. I suggest always checking that because sometimes Facebook will cut an image off, and sometimes if they automatically crop it, it's going to work, but sometimes it'll cut off someone's face and you're like, now my ad looks stupid. So that's something that you want to be mindful of when you're creating these. A couple final thoughts. When you do start using paid social media, the biggest thing is start with a smaller budget. If you have, say, $1,000 you're willing to spend on an ad campaign, don't blow it all in the first week. You want to set it really low, and then test. Because even though you might think you have this rock star ad that's going to perform really well, people might not take to it, and you can blow through a lot of money way too quickly. So always test different pictures, test different call to actions, test different headlines, until you see something where you're getting a highly converting ad. Also, one thing that we've found out is combine this with your email marketing. So if you're announcing the dates for your race for 2018, set up a campaign that coincides with the start of an email. So that way people are seeing it on all mediums. So just try and think of this as not just a standalone ad, but it's working with all your other marketing efforts. We focus heavily on basically email, Facebook, and then also we do a little bit of Pinterest ads, and then we treat Instagram by itself, even though it is within the Facebook platform. Probably 80 to 85% of our registrations typically come from Facebook ads. The rest, email, and then obviously referral, we've had a lot of success with, and especially last year. But on average, about 80% of our registrations, we are pulling through those Facebook ads. As far as cost goes, again, this is why I say test. They can range from anywhere, like when we have a really highly performing Facebook ad, we can get a registration acquisition rate of $4 per registration. So those types of numbers are wonderful. Obviously, if you're willing to spend $4 for a $35 registration fee, that's a wonderful margin.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks.